Hey guys, today I'm going to be starting a new series that basically goes over everything you need to know to really get started with PKing. I want to go over each and every single thing that makes someone a great PKer. That way new players can really learn from this. And the way I want to do it is basically step by step, where I start with the more basic ideas and then work my way up to more advanced mechanics. One final note before we begin is that PKing can be extremely fun, and I really urge everyone to go out and try it at least once, but I do know that our community can be a bit harsh sometimes, even toxic. But if you go in with a positive mindset and just try to enjoy what you're doing rather than worrying about what other people think, what money you're losing or dying, you're going to have a lot of fun. That being said, let's get straight into it. The first thing you obviously need to select is the account that you plan on PKing on. There are so many different types of accounts, and I want you to know that you don't really need to build one specifically for PvP. You can have a lot of fun and do really well with any standard account you have. It won't be optimal, of course, but for learning, any account you have is totally fine to PK with. I'm going to be using my Zerker, which is a 45 defense account build, like this, to demonstrate. But don't feel pressured into making a new account. You can see there are so many people here, all with different combat levels, all with different stats, and they all do fine. So don't go out of your way to make a new one. Just go out there on whatever you have. There are just so many different ways of executing your opponent and so many different types of account builds, it can be hard to know where to start, but I think really a good one to start on is definitely going to be ranged to melee. And so you're going to want to start with any sort of weapon that is ranged. Usually a magic shortbow is the most common, and it's really strong and very cheap too, which is good. And then whatever spec weapon you want, which is, you know, sometimes an armed god sword, or sometimes even something as simple as a dragon two-handed sword, which is strong just because it can hit very high. And so the basic idea is that I attack him and get him low with my ranged, and then when I think I can kill him, switch into my melee weapon and then attack him. So I think I can kill him, switch him into my melee weapon and attack him. And note that you do have to attack him again. If I switch into my melee weapon, I won't do anything. And that's because in RuneScape, switching into another weapon, or changing whatever weapon you're using, will stop you from attacking your current target, so make sure that you click on them again. Here, I'll just show another demonstration, this time with the God Sword. I think I can kill him, switch into my weapon, and attack him again. And so, this works for two major reasons. One, because the melee weapons have very high max hits, which means I can kill them from high HP. This Armadillo God Sword, for example, can hit upwards of 70 or even 80 with its special attack. And also because, if you notice, the two hit splats from my attacks happen very close to each other, and that means that the opponents won't be able to expect it as well, and they'll also not be eating as much. Killing somebody with a dragon two-handed sword is nice, however a lot of your kills are going to come through using your special attacks instead. And so some of the common melee special attacks to use is the Armadillo God Sword, the Dragon Dagger, Dragon Claws, and the Granite Maul, which is a different video. And these are all great options to kill your opponent after using ranged, and it's a little bit more complicated, but it's the same idea. If I attack my guy with ranged, and then hit them with my Dragon Dagger, you'll see that I didn't spec, which is a problem, because I want to use my special attack. And so there are kind of two ways of doing this. I could attack them, wield my Dragon Dagger, click my combat options, and click spec, and then click attack them, which takes a lot of clicks and is very hard and very slow, so definitely don't do that. What you do want to do is set up your F keys, which is in your controls under here. I have my combat options as F1 and my inventory as F2, which means that when I attack them with my shortbow, I can click on my Dragon Dagger, press F1, and click spec, and then click them. And so this is much quicker than clicking your combat options, and is much better. So here's an example. Attack, Dragon Dagger, spec, click. And so that is your bread and butter combo with a spec weapon. And another neat thing you can do is you can have your spec weapons with melee on the second to bottom row of your inventory. That way, when you press F1, your mouse is already over the special attack bar. I recommend doing this. A lot of people have it up here, I'm not sure why, but this is definitely strong. For example, if I attack them with my magic shortbow, you see, I didn't even have to move my mouse to click that, and then I can spec them out. One important thing is how far away you are standing from the opponent. For example, if I'm really close to my opponent and I try to do the range to melee combo, watch what happens. See, the two hits are very far apart. That means he's going to have time to eat after the arrow. However, if I'm standing 2 squares away, 1, 2, and I do the combo, it's much quicker. See that? The 2 hits are basically on top of each other, which means he's not going to have as much time to eat. There are other ways to get them even closer, but to start off, I recommend 2 squares away. One really crucial thing in PKing is what's called a 1-tick, and it takes a lot of time to get it done consistently, but it's pretty easy to do if you just try it out a couple times. The idea is that if I am using my magic short bow and I want to attack him, there is a delay between when my first arrow goes off and when I can melee him, right? It's the delay of the magic short bow timer, right? And so if I pull out my melee weapon or whatever it is immediately, he's going to have time to react. So watch, if I attack him and then immediately pull out my dragon two-handed sword, you'll see that I'm going to have to wait with my dragon two-handed sword out before I can actually attack him. You see I had to run at him with my dragon two-handed sword. That's not good because he can see that and he'll be able to eat. Whereas if I do it at the last possible moment, right before the next attack from my magic short bow would happen, he's not going to have any time to react. Watch this. If you see that, my dragon two-handed sword was out and this hip splat was already up. You know, he doesn't have any time to see it and any time to react. So I know that this might seem like a basic topic to some people, but the importance of eating correctly cannot be stressed enough. Knowing the combinations that can be used with food will make you both safer and attacking more often because you won't be simply eating the whole fight. It's also pretty simple to learn, and so I think it's worth delving into. To really understand how to eat in PKing, you need to understand what combo eating is. And it's not too difficult, and you can pick it up pretty quickly, but here's the essence of it. There are 3 types of food. There are your normal food, which includes basically everything you normally think about. Lobsters, manta rays, anglers, swordfish, monkfish, sharks, anything in that category. There are karambwans, which would seem like about the same, but they actually have a special property that we'll talk about in a second. And then there are potions, and potions include all sorts of different types of potions, even ones that don't heal you necessarily. For example, the super restore doesn't heal you, but it works in the same way as all other potions. And so the first tick eating, or just call her combo eating, thing is to know that eating 2 standard food at the same time doesn't work. And so if I try to eat 2 lobsters to heal 24 health, I eat the first one and then I can't eat the second one until later. And this is a big problem because if you're taking a lot of damage in a fight, you need to get your health back up. And there's a solution to that, luckily. There are many solutions to that. The first one is karambwans, and karambwans you can eat after eating a normal food. So for example, if I am at 53 health and I eat this lobster karambwan, that will heal me a total of 30. But it will also, more importantly, be at the same time. See how my health went up much faster than it would eating them at the same time, or eating them sequentially. This does not work in the other direction. Note, if I do karambwan manta ray, I have to wait to click it. And so that's very important in knowing that you can eat a normal food and then a karambwan. Now the next sort of tick eating is normal food and then a potion. So if I eat my manta ray and then my potion, you see both of them went away. So I drank both of them and I drank them at the same time. And both of those things can be done as fast as you want. So if you do it really, really quickly versus just, more leisurely, they both work and they're both faster than normally eating 2 pieces of food. And so they're really strong. The next thing is kind of weird, but if you drink a potion and then a karambwan, that also works. If I drink my Ceradomin brew and then my karambwan, they both go away. And that is less useful just by itself. However, it has an application for what is probably, the most health you could heal at a single time. You can actually chain these things together. And so, let me get my health down real quick. If I am low health, okay, let's see, I'm at 29 health. I'll be at 30 in a second when I regen. I can use both combinations at the same time by doing a normal piece of food and then a potion, which is one of them, and then a potion and then a karambwan. And so I can do them at the same time and it will actually heal me all the way. So watch this. I'm at 30 health. I'm at 86 health, just like that. And that's really important. So I healed their 56 health in a matter, of like a snap. And you can't really beat that, and it's really important to know. And so I urge you all to just kind of practice eating the things in the right order, and more importantly, know which order you're doing it. That way, whatever situation comes up, you can adapt to it. If you have different potions in your inventory, if you have different food, you know which ones you can eat in which order, and you'll be able to eat what you want, when you want, and be a lot safer. Now that you have your combo selected, you need to worry about what your inventory is going to be like and your gear. The gear will obviously change from account to account, however, for most accounts it's pretty similar. Fire Cape, or if you don't have one, Avis Accumulator is pretty good. Glory's good for just everything. Amethyst Arrows, Magic Shortbow, Black DI Chaps. Your highest tier is Recipe for Disaster Gloves. Climbing Boots, Rune Boots or Dragon Boots can be good too, but Climbing Boots are kind of good for all sorts of different combat styles. Recoils are very strong. And then for your helm slot and your chest slot, the Fighter Torso is really good once you have 40 defense. However, if you don't have 40 defense, you can just wear whatever basically. And then the Berserker Helm is after the Frenetic Trials with 45 defense, but if you have less than that, you can wear whatever. And if you have 55 defense in the Frenetic Isles, definitely wear a Helm of Nae'Snot. Now that you have your gear set up, we need to talk about what you have in your inventory. And there's a few key things that you need. Prayer potions to heal up your prayer, a super restore and a Saradomin brew in order to tick eat, super combat and a ranging potion to keep your stats high, your spec weapon of course, a spare recoil, teleports to the house, and then the rest should be food. I like bringing 5 Karambwans just because that's what I found is about how many I eat in a fight, when I'm tick eating. I bring 1 anglerfish to start off the fight to keep my health high, and so I can get an edge over my opponent that way. And then just the rest, whatever food you're using. I recommend manta rays, although sharks are good, and anything else you really want to use. Your prayers are super simple. Depending on what prayer you have, it's obviously going to change, but these are the ones that I use. Protect item, of course. Your best melee prayers, make sure that you're using melee prayers rather than your ranged prayers, because it's much more important to have a high hit at the end than it is to just be hitting with your arrows a lot, because you're not going to kill them with your arrows. Smite, if you're going to use it, it's not a big deal if you don't. And then of course, if you have Piety unlocked, definitely use that. The last thing I want to do in this episode is just go over a few examples of the things I've been talking about. The first one being tick eating. So in this case, I am at 50 health and 40 prayer, and usually you want to sit around 70 health and as high prayer as you can get, and so doing a manta ray prayer potion, or super restore in this case combo, would be really good. And so that's what I do. However, as I am doing this, I notice 2 things. One, he pulls out his AGS, which means he's about to spec me with it. And also that I hit a very big arrow. You see this 118 up here? That's probably a 21 or a 22 arrow, which is, almost my max hit. And that's going to hit his Vengeance, most likely. And I haven't gone over Vengeance in the series yet, but basically it rebounds your opponent's damage back towards them. And so his stack here is going to be really big. And so I need to eat up as fast as I possibly can. And so what I end up doing is chaining this last Karambwan with the Super Restore. So I do that. And you see that I did hit his Vengeance. It was a 20 arrow, and it almost killed me. And the only reason why I survived was because I tick ate with the Karambwan at the end. Now, I had the option to eat the Karambwan or not, because I can just eat Manta Ray Potion, but I also have the option with extending that combo with another Karambwan. And so, that basically saved my life. Then, as the clip goes on, he's just standing there with his AGS. Which makes me think that he's going to spec again. And so I try to combo eat again as quick as I possibly can. Let me show that again. I'm really low health, I'm at 9, so I'm going to do a Manta Ray, Saradomin Brew, Karambwan combo. And remember, that heals like 56 health or something. And so I do that as quick, right before his spec comes, and he hits a 56 with it, and I get down to 9 health again, but I managed to survive. And the only reason why I was able to survive there was because of tick eating. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is just an example of one ticking, and so here I'm fighting some random voider, and as the fight goes on, right now he's at max health, and then he's down to 78. And so at this point, I see that I had a very high XP drop. 120 means about a 20 or 21 arrow hit, and that will hit him down to about 58, which is definitely low enough for my AGS to hit. I'm going to talk more about XP drops in the future, but for right now, you know, just big ones are good to go in on because you know that your arrow is going to be hit high as well. There's no point in going in on a 0 arrow because you're just, you know, basically just using and relying entirely on your spec weapon. And so I then cast my Vengeance, which is another thing we'll talk about more in the next video, so don't worry about it too much. And then the more important thing is I wield my AGS, switch to my combat styles or my combat options with F1, click spec, and click on M. And watch kind of what that click pattern looks like. I click on my AGS, immediately click spec, and click on M. And you see that my character pulls out the AGS and kills him instantly. And that's why it's so strong, because they have no time to react. Thank you so much for watching, guys. In the next video, we're going to talk more about all sorts of different types of PKing, including melee PKing, and talk more about PID, Vengeance, and XP drops. Until then, comment what you thought and what things I can improve on, and if you liked it a lot, please subscribe. See you next time.